Oh, we are back. All right, so now we're following up Mark's and Matthew's Whiskey Women and the Blues, which was a departure from Uncle Walt's first two to one of my tunes called Big in Nashville. We inserted these songs because they fit the vibe, and 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 we're writers too, and so we wanted some of our songs on there. And so Big in Nashville was inspired by a visit that I made with my wife to Nashville in 1985. And
it wasn't this wife.
no, it wasn't mine. Thank you.
Sorry. Bygones.
I was trying to keep that up and down. And so I was wanting to experience, the whole Nashville thing. And everywhere I went were these rock and roll bands, which wasn't why I was in Nashville, 1985. And also I was noticing that the music at the time was turning away from the country that I knew to something different. All of a sudden, the Fender guitars were all chorused, and they were thin, and they weren't biting, and they were lacking the feel of the country that I liked.
And that was that 85, that middle period with all the Mandrell sisters and the orchestration and all of that.
And Debbie loves that period. But I did
this
not.
wife, not the one who went to Nashville.
Yes. Thank you. So, and so, I was discouraged by pop entering the country field, and where sexuality was being emphasized over a quality or over. The quality of the music, and that it seemed to be overemphasizing that. So I wrote this song, and then I kind of rewrote.
So you didn't want to see Minnie Pearl anymore, you needed.
I saw Minnie Pearl. She was the only good thing about Nashville. That was fun. Who's the guy that had the violin on his nose?
Kershaw.
Roy Acuff. Yeah, Roy Acuff.
Yeah, the Grand Ole Opry.
Grand Ole Opry.
With
we
the
saw
New Riders of the Purple Sage.
New Riders of the Purple Sage. And all that was very, very cool. But when I went there, it was beginning to turn. Country music was turning into pop. And then I rewrote certain portions of it after the fact because, of course, now country music has completely turned to the dark side. And it's all about the Barbie, and you got to be good looking and and you got to be hip with the urbane people. And we hate it. We hate it overall. There is still some good music being put out there in the country music field, but overall it has been taken over by a pop sensibility.
So it's official. We are three old guys. Get off our lawn.
Really, there should be the three geezers and what we have to say. So I wrote a song about, what if I had been a guy coming from California with a certain amount of talent, guitar talent, and was turned away. And so that's really what this song is all about.
So I want to tell you about a little bit of the recording process. So,
surprise me, Matthew.
So, the crust was as it always is, with Mark on the drums.
Is this going to be the drinking game?
This is going to be the drinking game. And me on the bass and Gordon on the acoustic guitar. Now, normally when we start to go into the leads.
A Gretsch Rancher, by the way.
Yes, okay. And a Gretsch. Yeah, you
Nashville.
played the Gretsch. You played the Nashville on this one. This is the only one that you played it on. No. You played it on the telly. Okay, he played this one on the telly. So
Glenn's telly.
Yeah, Glenn, our cousin Glenn. But normally, we split the leads, and sometimes I do, tend to do more of the leads. But this time this is my song. I'm going to play the lead. So Mark and I were back at the control booth.
Hang on. So once again, this song we had recorded earlier. We had done this song at least twice before. One of which was done with Glenn Johnson again, we keep kind of mentioning him. He's our cousin on the Bippus side. Great musician, great vocalist. Same kind of
And the girls dug him when he was young. I was really jealous. But
great hair, which he lost.
As did I. That's why I got the hat on.
I kept mine. So Mark's got the Kenny Rogers thing.
You
He's
do.
rocking Kenny Rogers.
You do have
right
a Kenny
now.
Rogers.
I was
She
noticing that.
believes in me.
Man,
Notice
of
he
all the
sings that,
tunes.
and I don't.
And so and they were actually not bad versions. And I had worked out the lead, so I wanted to do it again. Once again, on these tunes, we had not spent a lot of time with them because we were wanting to get on with our own. I say that even though this is our own song. So anyway, back to Matthew and the drinking game.
So when we start, and here's the thing that I've learned, because I've always felt that I was a pretty good guitar player.
You're a great guitarist, Matt.
Thank you for that. But it's
Don't
like,
have the tone as Glenn, but you're a
no,
great
I don't,
guitarist.
and I didn't attract the chicks like he did either. But when you start recording, it's a very humbling, exposing thing because you could play something when you're on a gig and you're like, man, I'm fantastic. And you sit back and listen, that's garbage, and that's what was happening to me. And so, we couldn't do these things. We're not Giacomo Tura, we're not,
Wow.
we played our own leads on this,
You went there, huh? Give it to you.
And so anyway, but Gordon, it was important to Gordon
That
to
was
play.
Matthew Bippus. If you want to sue him, he's only got a nickel for you, though.
He's got enough problems of his own. He doesn't need to come against me.
Wow.
Anyway, so
Refill Mark.
You need something after this.
so anyway, Mark and I were back at the control panel while Gordon started to do these leads. And so he does the first one and he muffs it. So we do a second one. He muffs a couple more. We do 2 or 3 more. And so then finally, Mark and I were back there. We said, every time he muffs it, we're going to do a drinking game. So every time he does it, 1, 2, 3. And so I don't know how many, 8 or 9 takes. I mean, it was like debilitating by the end of it. But in the end, he nailed it. He did a great lead, and it's a great song. And this is, always a song that he did that I loved. And I think that it came out really good. Oh, should we tell about the one more little trick that when we ticked off our drummer?
Oh. Might as
Go
well
ahead,
you
Mark.
threw everybody else under the bus.
Go ahead, Mark. Well, I guess Mac is to say it,
Yeah.
and then you can do the reaction. Okay, yeah, when you listen.
So we had a middle section in there where Mark was playing on his block, right? The plastic block. What do you call that?
Yeah, the
Plastic
block.
block.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's the
block.
Yeah.
And Gordon's wife was doing, Debbie was doing the maracas or
No, she was
shakers.
doing the cowbell. Wasn't?
No,
Oh, the
shakers.
shakers. Okay.
and it wasn't quite in sync. I'm not going to blame anybody, but it wasn't quite in sync. And Gordon and I, when we were starting to put on the vocals and some of the other things, we're like, it's not quite right. And so we went back and we overdubbed it. And so then Gordon played a cowbell and I did the shaker. And then when we played it back to Mark, he's like, that's a
Well,
cowbell.
no, let's bring that Mark.
So I was listening to it, and suddenly something's not right in my one ear, and I go, "Man, that's a strange sounding block." And finally, I got these guys to start cracking up, and they told me they used the cowbell.
I didn't reveal it. Matthew spilled the
Matthew.
beans.
My conscience was bothering me.
No.
Anyway, so the first interlude or the first chorus, you'll hear a cowbell, which wasn't supposed to be a cowbell. It was supposed to be a block. But it was a cowbell because they took me out of the recording session and overdubbed my great block playing.
I got sliced through an entire song. You're worried about a little space?
Well,
So,
We've got a lot of issues, people.
with that, if you like this, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, because
we will need another nickel.
liquor living on the West Coast. Folks said, go to Nashville, be the most. So I grabbed a sweet darling and we packed our bags. Then we were on our way. But Nashville sang like a country song. Everything went bad that could go wrong. Folks said I'd make it big in Nashville. All I made was a big mistake. Folks said I'd make it big in Nashville. All I made was a big mistake. No one plays Bob Wills anymore. They're all pro while the singing Barbie shakes. No one wanted to hear the oldies over Marshalls and roaring Les Pauls. Forget Marty Robbins, forget Johnny Cash, forget Crazy and the Hello Walls. The Opry closed its doors to this newcomer. Kid, pay your dues first, then try next summer. Have you been to Music Row or the Hermitage? Went to all the big boys like RCA. MGM wouldn't listen, they turned me away. No one wanted a picker with an old soul heritage. So with my sweet thing sitting by my side, to Music City we waved goodbye. My old guitar packed up with my western shirt. And as we left, the sky spit on the ground. What a perfect ending with a country sound. Back to California and the West Coast dirt. Folks said I'd make it big in Nashville. All I made was a big mistake. No one plays Bob Wills anymore. They're all pro while the singing Barbie shakes. No one wanted to hear the oldies over Marshalls and roaring Les Pauls. Forget Marty Robbins, forget Johnny Cash, forget Crazy and the Hello Walls. Folks said I'd make it big in Nashville. All I made was a big mistake.